Welcome everybody to this week's show. This is a post-recording forward to this week's show. This week we have got Nick Kappa, who is a Melbourne-based comedian on board. And I need to warn everybody, this does have a little bit of adult language in it. So just a heads up to anyone who's listening with their kids. It's not full of profanity, but there is a couple of words here and there. Just to shout out Nick's Instagram. So if you want to follow Nick on Instagram, it is at Kappa Flapper, CAPPERFLAPPER. Nick will be performing at the Brisbane Comedy Festival the 30th of April, the 1st, 2nd and 3rd of May. He'll also be doing the Sydney Comedy Festival and also be doing some shows up in Darwin. Nick is also the host of the Phone Hacks podcast, so if you enjoy Nick's content today, be sure to check that out. And finally, Nick did a full comedy special, Hold Me Closer, Tiny Cancer. Check that out for free on YouTube. That's enough for the shout outs. Let's get to this week's show. Peace, guys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's show. This is the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. This is episode 270. I'm your host, Russell Gibson, and this week we've got a very special guest. We've got Nick Kappa. Welcome, Nick.
Hey, thanks, Russell. Thank you so much. This is an odd experience. Obviously, I'm always interested in things, so interested, and I thought Russell can guide me through trading cards and the way they work. And I thought, hang on, everyone who listens to this is already going to know that, and it's going to be really boring. So I'm only going to tell you what my experience with trading cards, I guess. I didn't know. Did you have a question before? Sorry. I'm an idiot. Oh, and am I allowed to swear? Oh man, this is terrible from the start, you know.
This is fantastic. This is probably the best episode I've ever done. I can just mark it as rated mature for this episode, and that's totally fine. Why don't we just do a language warning right now, actually? So for children at home, there's going to be a couple of rude words in today's episode.
I'll try to keep it PG. I think I can keep it within the basketball card realm.
That's right.
Keep it PG. Yeah, man. So what basketball cards? I'm guessing. As I said before, I don't want to bore the audience, but you've said they've come back up again, because I am 43 years old.
Great. I'm 44. So we're the same vintage. Yeah.
So my experience with basketball cards is I was out in a place called Boomai, and there were 25 kids in my primary school. So I was an hour from the nearest town. Yeah.
Is that actually how you pronounce the suburb, or is that your interpretation of how you pronounce it? How else could you pronounce that?
Omi.
Okay.
That's if you have a deeper knowledge. If you have a deeper knowledge of the suburb, that's what you would say. Yeah.
No, we're going to talk more about that later for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. I was like going to this primary school, and my mate, he had older brothers that would go away to boarding school in Sydney, and they would always come back with something crazy and amazing. And one time they brought back a bunch of, it must have been around 1995, and they brought back a bunch of basketball cards that were really cool. I liked looking through them, but I couldn't really get a grasp of it. But he also brought X-Men 95 Ultra Fleer collection. Yeah. And they had all the
were they kind of shiny cards, or were they sort of matte cards? Do you remember?
Yeah, they were real shiny. I think I've still got them, man. I think I've still got the whole collection.
They're probably worth more than the basketball cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from that era. So we call that the junk wax era, and they printed a lot of stuff. And maybe if you remember, they were everywhere. They were in service stations, news agents. They were just in Coles, Woolies, the whole thing. So it was just a lot of it printed in that sort of 90s era.
It was so cool, man. The illustrations, like Boris, they had that Boris guy, a lot of other, Boris Valligio, his name was, and a lot of other, really, a lot of them were quite sexual. But, and the guys were jacked, but yeah, it was really cool. And then I went to boarding school.
Short, Jack. That does sound actually quite sexual when you say it like that. Yeah.
I often talk about this with my comedy mates on the podcast, because now with the internet, you can watch basketball. You can watch it in Australia. But
100%.
When I was, and when you were young, basketball was that big. Michael Jordan was that big that people loved him in Australia, and we'd never even seen a game. You couldn't even watch the games. That's insane.
You saw him
That
on
is totally.
advertisements like McDonald's advertised. I think that's how you got to know him, honestly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my mate at boarding school had a Michael Jordan calendar, and because I was from the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere, they explained that who Michael Jordan was, and Shaq. Shaq was huge. I had a Shaq Guernsey. I didn't even watch basketball, but I had a Shaq Guernsey. You know, it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That and the Charlotte Hornets was like the two sort of massive pop icons at that time, wasn't it? Because everyone had like a starter Charlotte Hornets jacket.
dude. Yeah, yeah. I love those
Yeah.
starter. Yeah, jackets. I might go get one actually. I'm cashed up, but yeah, I man, this is so cool talking about all this because, yeah, when I went to boarding school, Boomai was an hour from Moree. So when I went home for the holidays, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm going home. I'd get on the bus in Tamworth, and then the bus would take 5 hours to go to Moree. And I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm home. And then my mum would take me to this place called Video Easy, right?
Yeah.
And
I remember
Video
Video
E
Easy.
Dude, it was the best. The smell of those cards when you open up the packet, all the vibe of the whole place, and she used to buy me the X-Men cards, and then I would look at them. You know, if you got like an insert that was sick, like one of those plastic inserts, and then we'd drive another hour to Boomai, and then we'd have to drive another half an hour out to the farm. So Video Easy was just it was paradise. It was just a place, where, yeah, yeah, and laying them
I
all
think
out, drawing them was so cool.
so. We actually have a few people that listen to this pod from overseas. So can you just
Mm.
give us a bit of an explanation in terms of like the other capital cities in Australia where you live? Because as an Australian, I'm actually not really that sure where you grew up. Yeah.
So you got Sydney, I guess, which is on the coast. Then if you went 10 hours southwest in the middle of New South Wales, that's where I was. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So not in the middle, but on the border, on the New South Wales Queensland border. So we're about 10 hours from Brisbane, about 5 to 6 hours from. Sorry, 10 hours from Sydney, 5 to 6 hours. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
And what did your parents do to get you out in that area? Were you guys
Uh,
farmers? Were you?
Yeah, my dad managed a cotton farm. Yeah,
Yeah,
40,000
right.
acres. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I think
wow.
one of the biggest cotton farms in the southern hemisphere. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Really cool. Really cool way to grow up. But I was a daydreamer. I just was like I wasn't good at farming. You know, I tried my best, but yeah, I wasn't good. Well, I lie. I did
So,
not try my best. I'm so lazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so what makes you a good or a bad farmer? Like, because I
yeah.
also didn't grow up on a farm, so I've got no idea, what it would bring involve at all. Yeah.
Like in my opinion, like farmers are just heroes. Like they're good at everything. They can fix things. They come up with stuff on the fly because you're just out in the elements and you can't just whiz to the shop and get something.
Yeah.
So my dad was just he's a bit of a genius in terms of he would always keep plastic packaging or things like that just in case one day a spray nozzle or something and you didn't have a spare 3 hours to go and grab the spray
Yeah.
nozzle apart, so you'd just be like MacGyver, something in there.
Yeah.
That's what makes a good farmer. Also working smart, so you do have to work bloody hard. There is sometimes where like the rain and the weather is your mistress. So when it's hot or when it's raining, after it's rained, you got to get in there as quickly as possible because you'll lose $40,000 or $100,000 if you don't plant at the right time. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot like comedy. It's a lot of it's or any job really that where you work for yourself is just getting better at planning with the conditions. My dad's just such a pessimist. One time we had a really good year, and I remember saying to him, "Oh, this is awesome." And he's like, "What? No." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, we've had a good year this year. That means next year's going to be fucked." So yeah, man, it's everything. It's accounting, it's mathematics, it's physical labor. A lot of people pass off farmers as dumb or whatever, but a lot of them go to uni and come back and things like that. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really cool. Yeah, and I was just a bad farmer because I just didn't concentrate on things. I can't finish a task, and you need to finish tasks.
Okay.
I
So
get bored by
Instagram,
everything.
TikTok is your friend. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hell yeah.
So
I got to get away from it. Yeah, but I'm a lot better with it now. I don't. I like to put stuff into it more than look at it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were talking about Video Easy, and you're talking about the experience of opening the packets.
Mm.
And the other thing you spoke about too before was like you think people will be bored listening to you talk about this. Actually, I think it's actually good to go back and talk about the fundamentals. So if you do have any questions, like even if you think they're too silly or too basic, I would love to try and answer any of your hobby questions that you've got.
Yeah, man. So I'm guessing with basketball cards, you've got the internet where there's no tangible objects. Speaking of video easy, I think I feel bad if I have kids that they won't be able to walk through and grab the videos and and the DVDs and look at them. And I remember just
Yeah.
looking at all the packaging artwork and the textile, even movies that I didn't even see called like Maniac Cop or whatever, like B grade
Yeah.
horror. They always had like cool graphics on the front that was like hand painted. And now I just scroll through Netflix, and I think it makes the decision a lot harder and not taking a risk on something. And maybe that's what, I don't know, I could be wrong about this, but I'm guessing you said that there's been a resurge in basketball cards. Is that because people want textile things again that are valuable that they're holding in their hand?
I think there was a few factors that contributed to the resurgence. There
Yeah.
was essentially a time where the licenses expired and then really no one bid on them. So a company came in called Panini and it took the
Hmm.
licenses for basically a bag of chips.
Yeah, right.
And the thing that they did differently and the thing that they did very well is they put in collectibles into the card. So for example, pieces of like memorabilia from the players' jerseys. And initially they did a really good job of it. It was all game worn, but then we went through this period where there was a lot of product being made and some of it wasn't game worn at all and some of it wasn't even player worn. It was just like a random piece of material that was put into it.
Yeah.
That happened, and then people started to make a little bit of money off it, so then they became collectibles, and what's happened recently is, I'm not sure if you heard this, but that Mr. Wonderful came and bought, he says he's bought about $20 million worth of cards, and his perspective is that they're gonna be long-term, like, pieces of art like Monet's, where if you're buying
Ah,
the top cards, so as for example, a one of one LeBron James that's got a logo in it,
mm.
that'll be worth $20 million or $30 million in the future. And then the third factor was COVID. So when everyone was locked down,
Ah.
people were selling basketball cards online. So they were having this experience online in their living rooms, and that sort of digital online trading and that, online platforms has also exploded at the same time. And now there's dedicated online selling platforms, and it's really become its own beast in some way. So it's actually quite hard just to go and buy a packet or buy a box because the box is quite expensive. Most people go into box breaks where you just buy a single team and then watch your watch the whole box get opened online, but you're only getting one team out of that box.
Oh wow. Okay, so they're extremely limited now. You can't get them in any shop or whatever. You got to bid for them online or whatever.
So if you're thinking about the 90s when they were in like
Yeah, yeah,
shopping
yeah,
centers and Coles, it's
yeah.
not like that at all. You have to go to dedicated hobby shops. But
Wow.
I think more product is sold online on breaking platforms than actual in physical stores now. So there's been a real change in the way that people consume cards now. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. You and I were talking about this before. Is I'm obsessed with microcosms because I'm
Yeah.
in comedy, so you can say something to someone in comedy, and that's my world. So you can say the wrong thing or have a weird performance where you were too drunk or whatever, and that spreads, and that's like your whole world comes crashing down. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh no, and then as you get older, you realize no one gives a shit about anything. Like no one even knows who I am, or people only know two comedians in Australia, probably like Dave Hughes and Carl Barron. That's it. But we all think that we're the number one thing. So I went to a rodeo and I saw the same thing. I saw everyone in the rodeo. They're all talking about the rodeos. They're all like the rodeo's their life.
Yeah.
And I love that there's a microcosm of basketball card people, where you probably talk to your mates and you're like, "Oh, don't deal with that guy. He's a piece of shit." Or you have the
There's
kings of
pages
that domain.
dedicated to that. We call them scammers pages. So
Yeah,
100%
yeah,
there's
yeah.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you get accidentally, labeled as a scammer, or there's someone that's might be really cool in the basketball trading thing where they're like, fuck yeah, you're the king of this. And then that guy will just be driving a bus, like, like in his own domain, he's the king, but then, yeah, no one gives a shit about anything like these microcosms. But I love them. I love the microcosms. I love.
We're going to take a quick break and hear from our first sponsor, Neon Trading Cards. Head to neontradingcards.com where you'll find a huge array of breaks: soccer, NBA, MLB, F1, AFL, NRL, WWE, and Marvel. Find Neon Trading Cards on Whatnot. Neon is the exclusive home of Lucky Cardco Repack products, Australia's leading multi-sport repack company. Neon is also a Topps and Fanatics direct breaking partner. And this week on Whatnot's breaking platform, Neon have just launched their official second channel, Neon Trading Cards Plus. On the Plus channel, soccer, MLB, F1, AFL, NRL, WWE, UFC, and Marvel will be featured. Meanwhile, the main Neon Whatnot channel will run NBA breaks and Lucky Cardco repacks. NFL license is back with Topps and Chrome. This is the latest release and the hottest product on the market, and Neon will be breaking tons of it. Get in, get ripping, and don't miss out. Neon is where the action is. We're back with Nick Capper, and we're going to talk about the good old suburb of Greensboro.
You said that you're from Greensboro, and I found this vintage gaming parts shop there, all old Super Nintendo parts, Super Nintendo controllers, and I'm just loving this. I'm basking in, the all these memories that come flooding back. But this is a world. Like, there was like 7 people working in that small shop. I'm like, why is there 7 people here?
7? So what were they doing? Were like filling online orders, or what's
must have been, man. I don't know. But it was like, I just love these microcosms. I love, like, I'm a comedian, so I've got to like criticize things and judge things. But the older I get, the more I just respect, like, people. Fucking these dorks. What are they doing? Collecting basketball cards? Like, grow up, man. Like, get an outdoor hobby, But then the more I like see these things and how happy it makes people and how happy it makes me, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like, this is so cool. And I mean, everyone judges these people, but they're in a pub having a beer, Yeah.
So can we talk about Greensboro just for a second? Because that shop that you're talking about was actually in an arcade. And I remember that arcade from when I was a kid. There was a wedding cake shop there, and it sold all those sort of ornamental parts that go onto the, the tiered cakes, and it had, cake boards up on the wall. I remember that vividly from my childhood. In the back corner, they used to have a shop where you buy food for animals. I think it was called a stock shop or something like that, and I would go there and buy the pallets for my rabbit. My other memory of that arcade was there was a guy there that repaired shoes, and he just had this tiny little shop in there, and you would take your beat up shoes and he would send them back to you like they were brand new. You're talking about people who are wizards of their craft, who were farmers before. I'll put this shoe shop guy into that same sort of category.
For sure, man. Yeah. I mean, to give the overseas listeners, I don't know if you agree with this, but to give them some scope, I think cities like Brisbane and Sydney are very capitalistic. The moment something old, they just knock it down, and that there's a good reason for that. It's a city. I don't have a problem with that. It's capitalism. That's the way it works. And I'll put.
And we also have a housing crisis in this country too, man. So I think they're trying to build more apartments so people can live in sort of more economical housing too.
Yeah, but for some reason, man, I don't know why, but Melbourne just seems to hang on to these weird, shitty malls, like these weird things where you're like, this can't be making money. Like, I went to
There's no way they're making money. Yeah.
I went to, and Baronia's got like that. Baronia Mall, if you ever come from overseas, you got to check out Baronia Mall, because it's like the 80s, just there was like a DVD shop there with like old TVs, comic books. And then there was just a shop that just sold Lord of the Rings, all Lord of the Rings toys. And the guy wasn't even in the shop. He's like, call me if you want a Lord of the Rings toy. Did
he give you a business card?
Money? He wasn't there. It was just a sign on the door. It was just
maybe it's his side hustle.
Dude, it was awesome. And there was a lady that was, she had a display of dog hair that's made into yarn. So you had the different yarns, like the different things that were knitted out of the dog hair. and it had a photo of the dog that it came from.
How
I'm
many
like,
people wear a dog jacket though? That doesn't
I
sound
don't know.
hygienic.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Oh, that'd be really expensive because to get the hair off the dog, that would take a long time to like shave the dog and collect it all up and then loom it, wouldn't it?
Dude, it was so funny. The lady, she saw the video I made about it, and she invited me to a show, like a live show, where she does the yarn, the dog hair yarn, and yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I looked on her Facebook page, and yeah, she's full MAGA, loves Trump. Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was like, oh,
Can
this is
we
so funny.
can we go back to the start? Because I feel like we've touched on a few things and we haven't probably properly introduced. So can we just introduce yourself? Like, tell us where you come from, what you're doing now, because you're doing like stand-up comedy, you're doing podcasting. Tell us about that. And then also maybe tell us about your journey through cancer, because that was the three things I feel like we've skipped over. We just went straight into cards.
Yeah, 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 man. No, I grew up, yeah, in the country, and then I went, I traveled around a lot, and I was just always not knowing what I wanted to do in life. Still kind of don't know really. And then in Sydney, I had a friend who was into music, and I couldn't play any music, but I love music. I'm obsessed with it. I could talk about music all day. That's my other microcosm.
So I also love music. You were wearing a Peep Temple t-shirt in your Greensboro video. What's your favorite Peep Temple song?
Oh man,
mine's
yeah.
Carol by a long, long way. Like, it's not even close. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Carol's good, but then they do an instrumental on that album. That's probably one of my favorites. I forget what it is. Or is it the album before? Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I forget what it's called. But but also, not only do I love Peep Temple, is that one of my mates plays in it, Stu. He plays on the bass.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. I love those guys. And I went and saw them live recently because they kind of got back together, and I'm like, wow, rock's back. It's so good to see. Like that noisy fuzz rock is, that was started by Radio Birdman and all that kind of, those kind of bands, and the Stooges, I guess, is back. And I love it, dude. I love it, because that's hard. It's hard to make fuzz sound good.
Sound good, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And give it emotion, Yeah, no. And he said, I used to go to all these gigs, and all of his mates would go, mate, come on, like, you got to start playing music soon. And I said, oh, no, I can't possibly do music. And they pushed me to do a stand-up comedy gig, and I kind of wanted to do it, but I'd never seen anything. I'd seen stand-up, but I hadn't really wasn't excited about it. But then I saw like Dave Chappelle, and I was like, wow, this guy's, he's got stuff that's well written, but it's him that I love. Like when I saw him in The Nutty Professor and stuff, just the way his voice is, and I don't enjoy watching him anymore because he's so serious, but his gear is still very well written and stuff. But I love that goofy Chappelle. That was my guy,
At my old work, we had a copy of the Chappelle Show. It was like the 3 seasons of all the 2.5 seasons, whatever you want to call it. And we literally like shared it around between all us guys. That thing where he did the Rick James, that is the funniest thing. I'm going to stand by that I've ever seen in my life. And the other skit that he did that was fantastic was the Prince skit when he had them playing pickup basketball and all the fruity basketball moves they were doing.
Dude, it doesn't get any better than that. I must fully agree. I think I'm Rick James, bitch, is like...
Yeah, I was like crying when he was saying that, yeah.
It's the most sad thing ever. And the Prince thing where they all change into the basketball Guernseys and then Prince is just wearing the stuff that they had from the club.
And high heels.
Dude, it's just like so good. So good.
And then make some pancakes at the end.
And I remember what Prince released an album years later, and he didn't even ask Dave Chappelle to put the artwork on the cover. So he didn't even get Dave Chappelle's permission to put him dressed as Prince on the front, but he just did it, and no one questioned it. That's how
Didn't
cool
Chappelle say like, I can't question him? Like,
I
he's
can't
basically
question him.
God. Yeah, he can do what he wants. Like,
He can do what he wants. He also did that to Dave Grohl when he did the halftime show. He did the NFL halftime, the Super Bowl halftime show. He played The Best of You, which is that Foo Fighters song.
Yeah.
And he didn't even ask. He just put it in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how cool he is. And no one ever questioned it.
Yeah, maybe you just get that famous. It just doesn't matter anymore, does it? Yeah.
Oh, I love it, dude. I love it. Yeah. So, no. And then And but then I saw the Mighty Boosh and stuff like that. I saw Dave Chappelle and the Mighty Boosh, which are totally two different things, but they taught me that like, oh, okay, cool. You don't like it's good to have good material, but just have fun and be unique. And yeah, that was really cool. And then I thought I'll do one show and all my friends will come along. If it goes bad, I won't do another one. And then that one went good. Second one went good. Third one, I bombed so hard, and my friend had to con me to keep going. And yeah, kept going, man. Yeah.
I think just two things on that. I think you do need people in your ear pushing you forward, and I've got people like that in my life, and I'm so blessed for that because you do have so much self doubt, like putting
Yeah.
yourself out there. And the other
Yeah.
question I want to ask you too is like, what are you must have earlier comedic influences, like because for me it was Kevin Bloody Wilson and
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Rodney
Rodney
Rude. That was the
Rude.
other one. My dad had a Rodney Rude cassette in his work truck, and I used to like sneak it out and go and listen to it really softly in my room and then put the cassette back before he realized that it was missing because, he wouldn't want me listening to that. But he used to do a joke about Schweppes and he used to call it Scoopies. And I was actually wondering if that influenced in some of your jokes you do online, you do the suburb reviews and then you correctly pronounce as you say. Was that an influence, that joke on the way that you look at those suburbs?
Oh, no, no, no. I just thought it's funny to pronounce suburbs like that there, because those suburbs and small town videos that I do, I love those places. People say, oh, Nick, you're taking the piss or whatever. And I talk about it in my stand up is that I love those towns. I love them. So I thought, why not pronounce them in a European or a kind of overdrawn linguistic fashion
Yeah.
to put more emphasis but plus, I talk about it in my stand up. I don't, I try not to do my bits on a podcast, but it's more like people from country towns and suburbs. They're not all like this, but they're kind of like, you can't say anything anymore. Political correctness has gone mad. People are too sensitive. You can't say anything anymore. And you go, here's something weird about your town. And they go, fuck you, mate. Fucking kill yourself. You're a piece of shit. Like that's, there's no, there's no left or right wing or wokeness. It's what you care about. It's what you always give exceptions of what you care about. The same with the left wing. Same with someone who lives in the city. They'll be saying free Palestine and, we need to give Aboriginals.
We're not
their
all
land.
left wing who live in the city. What are you talking about?
But so like, I guess in the Fitzroy bubble, yeah. But yeah, so they'll be telling you, free Palestine or whatever, while they're doing like lines of coke off a cistern, and you go, oh well, Colombian slavery doesn't count, I guess. Like that. That's just an exception. It's what matters to you. You always have exceptions. Yeah. So it's cool. It's really cool. But I almost like the country way better because they'll say stuff that's a bit crook or whatever, like, oh, what are these Muslims coming in or whatever? But if they've got a flat tire on the side of the road, the country people are first to pull up and help them out, make sure they got a place to stay. Whereas probably like someone who might write something on Twitter, like we got to help these Muslims out or whatever, they'll just drive past them. So it's like, who's better? No one's better. We're all shit in a way.
That's the human dichotomy though, isn't it? We're all a little bit good. We're all a little bit bad.
Yeah.
You're talking about sort of like, as you get older, I definitely agree with that. As you get older, you do have definitely a different viewpoint of the world. Going back to that Rodney Rude joke, do you remember that joke at all? Or is that something that you're not familiar with?
I can't remember, dude. I listened to a lot of Rodney Rude when I was a kid, and I can't remember that one. What was that one?
Literally, he said he was a kid from the country and he thought Schweppes was Scoopies.
All right. Yeah. My mate found a Rodney Rude shirt for me, and I wore it the other night at the comedy festival. And everyone loved it. Yeah.
Sick, yeah.
Yeah.
Guy's like
so cool.
Living legend.
Yeah.
So you're talking before about how on earth do these little shops make money? How do you make ends meet as a comedian? And without going into obviously like numbers in terms of ticks and tacks, how do you make it all work? Yeah.
Oh man, I'm very lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm always just scraping bits and pieces together.
Yeah.
Thank God I have a very supportive wife who's helped me out. But I do have to, I haven't had a casual job in about a year and a half, which has
Sorry,
been
man.
fine.
I'm going to interrupt you there. Yeah, 100%. Let's just give a shout out to the ladies. Honestly, like you need
Yeah.
someone behind you moving you forward. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, I'd be dead if it wasn't for
Yeah.
her. Yeah, it's yeah. So yeah, there's that. But also, I'm on a lot of Pilot Viagra ads. I'm the guy on that. That helps me so much. And then
How did
yeah,
you get
man.
that gig?
Oh, some they just reached out to me on Instagram. Yeah, yeah. So they're like, "You want to do this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no problem." The money was right, so I didn't want to take it at first, but I was getting married, so I
Yeah.
thought, "Oh well, look, this will pay for a lot of the wedding." And I said to them, "Oh look, if you look after me, I'll do it for this lower price." And they usually people don't look after you. Usually they just take the money and run, and you never hear from them again. But these guys, they kept giving me stuff. So, and they're really a bunch of nice guys, and the ads are
Do you mean
funny. So,
Viagra? Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, yeah, Pilot, yeah, 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 yeah. They do like hair loss, and
No, I'm
they
saying
come on in between.
by looking after you, were they giving you Viagra? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh no, no, you have to get it prescribed. One of the guys got into a lot of trouble, like one of the directors or something, because he was just giving out Viagra, and they were like, "Dude, you can't do this. It needs to be prescribed." Yeah, 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 yeah. I think he was like taking it or something
Yeah,
from the
I'm
story,
sure.
the
I'm sure he was
samples.
helping himself
No,
there. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh no, 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 dude. Yeah, yeah. I haven't got to that stage yet, but I probably will need it sooner or later. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
for sure.
This is actually a question from my buddy who's a massive fan of yours. So shout out to Anthony. And his question was, what's more lucrative, social media, stand up, or ads?
Man, it's so hard because I've got all three things boiling at once. So I got like
Yeah.
Facebook started paying per view
Yeah,
last
right.
year. So that's when I started really ramping up. I would do 3 country town or suburb videos a week. But now I try to do one every day because it's like lotto. You just never know which one's going to hit. And when
Yeah.
they do hit, you're like, oh, cool. It's not much. You're probably getting, well, I'm not even, I've got 20,000 followers on Facebook. So some of those videos go good, but you're looking for around $3 to $1,000 a month. So $300 to $1,000, extra a month. So
Yeah.
it's not much, but it's like trying to just pay rent or food or whatever. And then
Yeah.
usually I'll get a gig worth that can be, I'll get a couple in a month, or sometimes I'll have heaps that could be $2 to $1,000. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there's
So
always something.
you've just come off
Yeah,
the comedy festival. Do you want to talk to us about the comedy festival? Because you're selling out some of your shows on that. I saw online.
yeah. I had a great year this year. Sold out like what 10 from 13 shows. So yeah,
Congrats, man.
that was yeah. So it's good. It's really good. So that's good. That's a decent amount of money. But
Time for our next break, and we'll be right back. It is time to take a break now, and we're going to go to our first commercial of this week's podcast. Thank you to US Sports Cards Australia for your ongoing love and support. Go to ussportscardsaustralia.com.au. There you'll find sealed products, brakes, card protection, Ross's beloved water pistols, and CA, or as Ross calls it, Comca. ComCA is a card consignment service that is local to Australia. Go onto the main website, click on the 3 little noodles, get your submission form. Pay only 9 cents for your total submission, no matter how many cards you submit. Just pay for the 9 cents. Write on your submission form, you can't comp this, for this exclusive promo deal. Sales have been steady on the website, $600, $390, $240, $165. Money is flowing through the website. Ross is continuously developing on the back end, and the new website will be launching very imminently. Also, check out ComCA on Instagram, comca.tradingcards. Thank you to US Sports Cards Australia for your ongoing love and support. And we're back, and we're going to continue our conversation about the economics of being a comedian.
it's good, like for comedians. But yeah, I think for the average working man, they're like, I wouldn't even sneeze at this. So I am doing what I love, and I love it. However, I can never brag about money because it's still, I think my wage would be like lower middle class. I think like enough, like enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it comes in waves. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. But it's good when the money's good. It's so good. it's incredible. Like, but when it's sometimes it's 3 months with no money, like, which is incredibly stressful on my wife and me, and I don't feel good. But you get a little bit more each year, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. If you were a salaried employee and then you start working for yourself, that's one thing that no one can explain to you until you start to do it. The money
Mm.
isn't there all the time, and you have to keep working whether you're getting paid or not. And then sometimes the money will be there and sometimes it won't. I've been working for myself now for, well, technically it's seven. This is my seventh year, but really I've only done it full time for 3 years. I was so naive going into it, doing your own taxes, doing your own payroll, all your own soup, all these things you take for granted when you are working for the man or working for for a company. It really is.
Oh,
No
it's
one can
horrible,
tell you.
dude.
Yeah,
It's horrible,
no
and
one
I'm
can tell
I'm
you.
I'm working on a big project at the moment, like a big project that might go through, but it might not go through. But
Yeah,
even if it does go through, if they give us this contract or whatever, maybe it's just a normal person's wage for 2 to 3 years. Like, let's say it's 2 or 300 grand or whatever, you know.
yeah,
But and then that's good to get that all at once. But then you've got to make it, and then you just got to keep fighting to get it again, like for another maybe 8 or 9 years to get that again.
yeah,
It's terrible, dude. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
just like, I mean, like, I'm incredibly blessed and it's great, but at the same time, you're like, I really think maybe I might get a job sooner or later, just to for a peace of mind for a while, just
Yeah,
to,
yeah. Take a bit of stress off you.
yeah, yeah.
Can we talk about Kill Tony for a second? Because in my opinion, that's probably the best thing that's happening in comedy in the present time. But also, I can't really think of when something else like this has been done that's been so dynamic. And I also think too, it captures modern culture in that they're 1 minute sets.
Yeah.
It's incredibly random, and everyone loves like what's in the box, that sort of randomness of that. And so
Yeah.
there's that part of it. But then you've got obviously Tony, who's a comedic genius, and then they have all the guests coming on, and then sometimes they actually do uncover, fantastic comics. So I I really enjoy comedy, but I enjoy Kill Tony a lot. Like I genuinely think it's just a absolutely brilliant idea. So can you talk to us a little bit like that? And maybe are you considering going over to Austin and trying to get your name pulled out of the hat?
Everyone tells me, dude, like I should go and do it. I was really bored with comedy years ago, and I hated it. I hated all the formulas of it and the way it worked. It disgusted me. I think I'd been just going for too long. And then Casey Rocket came along, and he changed my life. I was like, wow, this guy's doing something new and exciting, and I couldn't get enough of him. And I was very lucky enough to open for him, and
Yeah, right.
it was really cool hanging with him. But at the same time, I think I freaked him out too much, just at how much I knew about him, and he's a very like chill guy, and I'm just there fangirling all over him, and yeah, freaked him out a bit. But yeah, people are very divided on this whole Rogan sphere thing. Obviously you've got a lot of comics speaking out now saying it's a boys' club. There's not diversity. These comedians aren't funny, and a lot of that criticism is warranted. But at the same time, I love all of the Rogan Sphere stuff because what it's done for comedy, and it's
Sorry,
really,
can I pull you up there? Because actually, I disagree with that. Why isn't it diverse enough? I don't get that.
I think it's like it's hard because there needed to be a change, and these guys brought the change. Like a lot of it's against woke culture, all this kind of woke stuff. I
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The comedic undertone as opposed to the people who are actually on the show.
Yeah, I think like
Okay, okay. Sure,
these
sure, sure.
guys are
Yeah.
fighting. These guys are fighting to say the word retard and all that kind of stuff, which is like I'm like I don't want to hurt anybody, and it's not a pedestal that I would jump on.
Yeah.
At the same time, when all this Rogan Sphere stuff came about, Kill Tony, everything like that, it needed to happen. There was a time when it was just like, well, I don't know, like comedy is not risky anymore. It's
Yeah.
because that's what Jim Jeffries said. You always got your job. Well, some comedians' jobs, but most I would say is you cross the line. You cross the line not to hurt people. You cross the line into the realm of what other people are thinking about, but what they don't say, or what people shouldn't think about, and you're bringing light to those crazy thoughts.
Inner thoughts.
And
Yeah.
sometimes those crazy thoughts are political and risky,
Yeah.
and they have to be talked about. I'm not that kind of comic. I have used shock humor in the past. I love it, but I had to get away from it because I felt like I was using it as a crutch. And sometimes I think, yeah, it needed to come along because comedians now do Madison Square Garden. They're selling so many tickets, and it's all because of these guys that just like really loved comedy, really loved comedy. Like
Yeah.
really. I don't agree with Joe Rogan politically. I don't really listen to the podcast, but I love what he's done for comedy. If I saw him, I'm not going to talk shit on him. I'm going to be like, dude, what you've done
Yeah.
for us is so amazing. However,
Yeah.
these guys kind of policed the woke people, I guess. And then now I guess there are other people who are like, hey, it's cool what you've done, but let's bring it down a shade. Like all this stuff is somehow, politically, you know what you want trans people to walk around and not get called names. You want them to have a free life and you know you want someone that is they have a family member that is retarded or whatever, and they can go watch a comedy show and they don't feel that hurt, or whatever. At the
Yeah.
same time, they might go there and they're like, oh, this guy's talking about this in an intelligent way.
Yeah.
Great. This is funny. He's talking about someone that's retarded or whatever. And he's doing it in a clever way and it's crossing the line and that's funny. But there has been a time in that kind of Kill Tony sphere where it's not even clever. It's just like saying it. And you're like, and people laugh because it's like the shock, but it's not on a deeper level,
Well, I mean, my observation of that show is they've completely removed the guardrails. Like there is no guardrails. So you can say whatever you want. And then to your point about people laughing, well, that's actually not always true because some of them go up there who have actually like never done comedy before. They're genuinely nervous to the point that they can't deliver on what they want to talk about. And some of them just aren't funny. And so I agree with all your points. And you're right. The thing is like, how do you walk the line between being funny, being risky, and then not offending people? And it's actually possible. Maybe you can't do that at all.
No, it's not possible. And you need these guys. You need them. You need these guys in comedy. You need Kill Tony. You need them. Because they push the agenda, but also you need the woke people. You need people who are sensitive. You need them. Otherwise, it either gets too sensitive or it gets too offensive. And people get hurt both ways. Comedy becomes boring. But also, man, it's saying that though, there are people, you got like Jesselneck or whatever, who always push the line, but they push it in a clever way. It's pushed in a clever way. However, at the same time, I can't criticize either because I do both things. You might see me next year and I'm saying a bunch of offensive shit. It's just, I'm at this point in time in my life where I get older and I see things from all perspectives. So I don't want to offend anybody. But at the same time, last year's show or the year before one, it was full of Port Arthur jokes and Joseph Fritzl jokes. And, that's bad. It's like, if it's clever,
So for our American friends, Port Arthur is a reference to Martin Bryant, who is, I think he still holds the infamous title being the highest head count in terms of being a serial killer. Joseph Fritzl was a man, he wasn't in Australia though, and he held his family captive and was practicing incest. That was his angle, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that's terrible.
Yeah.
But
so you're definitely pushing boundaries on that. I mean, for the record, I would love to see you on Kill Tony. Actually, I think you'll do really well because of your very peculiar Australian comedy. I think you do fantastic. Again, for the record, I just want to put this out there. I did ask you to do a Kill Tony minute, but you said you're unable to do that. So I'm a little bit sad on that. Looping back to Joe Rogan, though, I actually implore you to listen to his recent episode. He had Arsenio Hall come on, and you'll know who this guy is because he was in Coming from America, and that was like, that's our generation of comedy. He is in his 70s now, and he is bright as a button. He looks very well and healthy, and he's still doing stand-up comedy.
That's sick, man. Oh, like, don't get me wrong.
It's amazing.
I still listen back to I'll listen to the one, the Tarantino one's great. The guy who was in one of the Iron Man movies that's now like a scientist. Who's that guy? He's like an actor. And
Robert Downey Jr.?
No, he was in the first Iron Man. Then he got replaced by Don Cheadle.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm
Yeah,
not too
anyway.
sure.
No, it's cool, and I love nerding out about comedy. Like, my mates and I, we're all like, we hate talking about comedy, where we all pretend that we don't like it, It's kind of a bit of a front, like, I gotta do this gig," or whatever. But then sometimes if we're all in the right mood, or I'm with a mate that really wants to get into the reads, so that's when I put on something like Rogan or Normand and Sam Morril, their podcast together. We Might Be Drunk. Put that on, and because they really get into the reads, and I love listening to all the way a joke works, trying to predict things and everything like that. So yeah, dude, it's great.
All right, great. So this is part 3 of a segment, and it's called The Next Rookie Card to Pop to 1,000. So build a list of players that I think might go to $1,000. And then
Wow.
obviously the ones at the bottom are going to be less likely. And now we're sort of getting towards the top. So that's a bit of a background on it. So at number 6, we've got Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is currently trading at $325 US. His silver
Wow.
PSA 10 has a population of 454. So in terms of context, that's relatively low in terms of modern standards. The reason why Halliburton is so low at the moment is because he tore his Achilles basically 12 months ago. I think
Ah.
there's a lot of upside in this card because the Pacers are going to get a very high pick in this draft, and there's potential that they could get this high pick and immediately be again an Eastern Conference Finals contender, or maybe even NBA Finals contender again. So I rate this card really highly. I think this is a very safe purchase at the moment. In terms of this card getting to $1,000, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. But in terms of just buying this card for a 12-month hold, I'm going to give this an 8.5 or 9 out of 10.
Okay. So Tyrese, he was going good, but then people can buy this at a low price, and then if Tyrese gets picked for the Pacers or whatever, or his Achilles heel, comes back, then this card will rise up again, will it? Okay, gotcha.
So essentially, what's happening with the modern card market now is that it's almost like a stock market where if
Yeah.
things are going well for players, then the cards will go up. And you can see here in June 25, that was when he was in the NBA finals. And then after that, it
Mm,
definitely did go down. So you could have picked one up for
mm.
$200 in October of 25. And that's to do with him having an injury. And then you can see here, if you zoom into the last, say, 3 months, yeah, it's up 10% because people are starting to get back on board and buy a few more of his.
Cool, man.
Next on our list is Paulo Banchero. Paulo Banchero was a former number 1 overall pick. His silver PSA 10 is currently trading at $252. And if you're looking at the last 12 months worth of data, that's actually down quite a lot. He was trading up to $428. This is more of a personal choice for me because I just think he's got fantastic talent in terms of being able to be a primary scoring option. He is absolutely outstanding. I'm a little bit confused as to why he is down. And I wonder if some people have just taken money out of him and put it into other cards. For example, Cade Cunningham and Wemby. They're the 2 really hot ones at the moment. Maybe I've got these around in the wrong order. Maybe I should have had this guy in the Halliburton spot. But at the same time, I really do like this as a purchase. At the moment, actually, if we look into the last 3 months, he's actually down 21%. The population on this is actually a bit higher in the Halliburton. I'm actually talking myself into this. I've got these around the wrong way, but that's totally fine. I'm going to give this a 6.5 out of 10 to get to $1,000. In terms of it being a buy at the moment, actually, I'm going to say hold off on this one because I do wonder in the next 6 months, particularly if the Magic get booted out in the first round, I'll give this a 4 out of 10 for the next 12 months.
Cool. So, wow, Paulo Banchero. That's a good name, and that's a beautiful card too, man. Was there a big I was in Perth a couple of months ago doing shows, and was there a big convention there? Because you should get this comedian on. He loves LeBron James and stuff. Cole Legacy,
Okay.
and he went to a card show and he bought some cards. He would know about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I would love to have a chat to anyone that wants to talk about cards, man. Yeah, for sure.
And he'll talk forever. He's from somewhere in the UK. Got a real deep Scouser accent. Always wears
Scouser.
basketball. Yeah, always wears basketball jerseys on stage. Yeah.
Actually, this sounds awesome.
Yeah. You get him. I'll put you in touch with him. He'll talk about this for hours.
Actually, I would love that, man.
I only know a lot about old basketball because of COVID. Watch The Last Dance, of course, which is
Yeah,
just like a masterpiece. Even if you don't like basketball, it's a masterpiece.
100%.
But then my roommate and I, he's another comedian, Ben Knight, we got obsessed with everything ESPN did. I had this job during COVID hosing down stadium seats for the council,
Yeah,
and I
sweet.
would just listen to the ESPN podcast 30 for 30.
30 for
You
30 is
know,
awesome, man. Yeah.
just like the Sterling Tapes incredible podcast, about the Clippers guy or whatever. Watched all of the 30 for 30 basketball ones, the Detroit what is it? The Detroit Crushers.
Pistons.
Yeah, but what were they called? The Bad Boys, the Detroit City Bad Boys.
Was that the
You
one
know,
when they went into the stadium and they were fighting with the fans?
yeah, 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 just that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah, he
Yeah.
had so many good players. It's got like when it introduces the players, it shows them like banging bricks together and shit. It's so sick. Like, you know what I mean? Like the early Dennis Rodman. I didn't know Dennis Rodman had a history before the Bulls, which was
Yeah.
awesome. And then yeah, the Dennis Rodman 30 for 30 is incredible, dude. So that really invigorated my basketball knowledge. I was obsessed with it. Yeah.
Dennis Rodman in the Detroit Pistons is my favorite version of Rodman because he was this like
Yeah.
young,
Yeah.
hypermobile athlete that was just intent on just making people's life on the basketball difficult. And then as he got older, he wasn't as mobile. He was a fantastic rebounder, but then he had all that dating Madonna and dyeing his hair and partying and trying to balance his alcoholism with playing in the NBA. It was, I don't know, just from a pure basketball standpoint, him in Detroit was just amazing to watch, honestly. And actually, some of the kids that I coach, I actually show them when we're working on defensive stuff, I will show them clips of Dennis Rodman at that age playing defense because he literally was just like a fundamental machine playing defense. Yeah.
Well, it was so cool to me because, like, am not focused with anything. In comedy, I do get focused sometimes, or when I'm editing a video, I'll just get in the zone and I'm there.
Yeah.
But I love it. A guy like Dennis Rodman, who couldn't function in any part of his life, he would, when he didn't party, he was drinking milk in nightclubs and wearing dresses and just deeply confused about his life. And you think, well, this guy has no motivation at all, nothing. But then they said he was the only guy that would watch the other team on tapes before a game, like studying it, which is so crazy. Like I would have never picked that. I thought that guy would just go with the flow.
I think athletically though, his work ethic was amazing. Like
Yeah.
he would play an NBA game and then he
Mm.
would go and lift weights afterwards and then he would go and do cardio. Just that type of insane work ethic. You know what I mean?
See,
Like,
I wouldn't have picked that at all. Like I wouldn't have picked that.
yeah.
It's so cool. It's just so cool to me. It's just such an inspirational guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. We have taken a huge segue here, but I think I can get my head back together. Coming in at number 4 is Jaylen Brown, and he's a personal favorite player of mine. This season, he averaged 28.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, 5.1 assists on a very tidy 47% from the field. Previous finals MVP, he is currently trading at $396 US, which actually I personally think, in terms of his talent being up here, his pricing is just not matched at all to his talent. I think this is a very undervalued card. Population on this is actually increasing, but it's still very low at 312. Over the last 3 months, he's actually up 26%. I think this is a fantastic buy. I'm going to give this a 7.5, 8.5 out of 10. My only thing about this card is, will it get to $1,000? He doesn't have that hobby popularity. He doesn't have that pop in comparison to some of the other players that actually we've even spoke about last week, like LaMelo Ball, for example. Yeah, really tough one. However, I do think this is a very good long-term hold. Nick, what's your
Sick.
analysis on Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, he looks good. Looks like a nice card. Pretty steady. Pretty steady. Like he's not jumping all over the place like the other guys,
No. And not as
Very
many
steady.
sales too. That's the other thing, man. But actually, geez, when you look at it like that, in the last 12 months, he's actually up 86%.
Sick. Yeah, that's a good one. That's probably the best one I've seen.
You reckon that's your favorite pick so far?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's go with that. Nick's recommendation is to go with Jaylen Brown.
Hell yeah.
All right, this is a story, and this is coming out from someone who I've got a lot of time for on Instagram. This is from Adam Gray at the Real 27 Guy. Now, what he's done here is he's done a summary of the Superfractors that we've had from 2004 to 2009. There is a total of 1,429 Superfractors. In 2025 alone, there is 1,653. Nick, I think you're the perfect one to comment on this one.
What the hell is
What's
a
your-
superfractor?
Excellent question, my friend. The same card will come out in different variations. So there'll be a silver one, there'll be a wave
right.
one, there'll be one called a superfractor, there'll be one called a X-fractor, and some of them are numbered. So numbered to 200 to 100 to 50 to 10 to 5. The ones numbered to 1 are called a superfractor, and they're a one of one. So
Ah.
highly collectible,
Yeah.
very hard to find. Yeah.
I'm guessing Pokemon kicked this off as well, right? Like Pokemon reinvigorated cards a lot, I guess.
So Pokemon actually is almost a polar opposite of sports cards because it's not tied to something that's up and down like how we're looking at the
Ah,
graphs before. So like they get injured, and their cards go down, they play well, they go up.
yes.
There's less of that sort of stock market with Pokemon, but the cards definitely do go up and down in Pokemon. And the other thing that's actually very different in Pokemon, there's no numbered cards at all in Pokemon. And obviously there's no autographs, there's no memorabilia. So
Yeah. It's a lot more
and
complicated basketball
it's
card.
well, yeah. And look, maybe we need a third person on here to provide this commentary, but I don't know enough about Pokemon to probably answer that question properly. But that's my observation of the Pokemon world. Yeah.
Neither do I. But man, no. So what? There was a lot more Superfractors, but I mean, it was like limited. But I guess in 2025, it's not as limited. They've just put these out in 1 year, like 1,600, and that devalues a Superfractor, I guess.
I think you know more about the hobby than you realize. Yeah. So 100%. That means they've increased the print run exponentially. And yeah, 100%. I think you're right. I think these one of ones will be worth a lot less going to the future. I think the only
Mm.
caveat to that is that because it's first year of the tops having their license back, even though you are 100% correct that there's so many more of these than what there previously was. Like, for example, that LeBron James one, I think that's already recently sold. I think that sold for like $300,000. But
Whoa,
yeah, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. No, well, but then again, you got the whole world. 1,600 isn't much. That is not much at all. That is not many people. So yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah. That seems. I think it seems okay to do 1,600. um, only other basketball memory I have is I played basketball for a bit, and I had to get a pair of shoes,
Okay. Yeah.
and we went to Moree to the clothes shop. It was one of those for those overseas in when you have country towns. They have the country workwear kind of at the front, and then they have the surf shop up the back. Even though there's no surfing, like we're 700 k's from the beach, but every country town has a surf shop. Anyway, I went up the back to get a pair of shoes, and people were like, "You got to get these new shoes, Feeler." Grant Hill wears them. Grant Hill is the king. You got to
Yeah.
get Feeler shoes. He's the next Jordan.
Yeah.
And I bought the coolest pair of Feeler shoes, dude. They were black and white. They were huge.
And did they have sort of like a blue or a black triangle that was kind of like over the side of the shoe?
Might have. I can't remember.
Because I had
Thought they were
I had
just
the
black
same
and
Fila because Filas were
basketball.
also like half the price of Nikes. So Fila paid Grant Hill an insane amount of money to represent the stuff. Also, too, I think the league they were
Yeah.
trying to build the league around Grant Hill. Like he had that huge Sprite ad, and then he had a whole
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
injuries, and he sort of disappeared for a few years, which is actually like a shame when you look back at it.
Yeah, man. No, I had these they look like those Reebok ones with the swirl or like the jagged ones. I'm trying to look see if I can find them now, but yeah, man. Anyway, I got these Fila shoes, dude, and they were sick. They were incredible. I loved them so much. I played terribly. I was not a good basketball player at all. I was awful.
So
But
wearing Grant Hill shoes that didn't like prop your points up.
yeah, and I didn't even. Everyone else told me that like Grant Hill ruled, and but I didn't know anything about Grant Hill. No way. I didn't know shit about Grant Hill. So yeah. I was I I just fully fully under peer pressure to get these filler shoes. Yeah. But yeah, they were cool, dude. I loved them. They were so comfortable and they looked so cool. Like they were huge black and white shoes, kind of busy. And yeah. I'm trying to find them here, but I can't find them. Anyway,
I think they
yeah.
marketed those shoes a lot, and they were pushing those out to every shop that they possibly could.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
yeah. And I always wondered what happened to Grant Hill because he did go great, but he didn't explode like I thought he would have been a guy that everyone remembers. But yeah.
Oh, it was injuries. It was as simple as that. There was nothing to it other than that. So did you have that pair? Is that the ones you had?
Dude, I don't think so. I think it was
I
I'm
had these
thinking
ones.
yeah, they're sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I had the ones up the top there where your mouse was a variation of that, I think. But yeah, dude, yeah, it was cool. It was a great time. It was such an exciting time in my life to to get a pair of basketball shoes. And yeah, I was awful. Yeah.
Hey man, thank you so much for coming on today. You've been so generous with your time. You've been
No worries,
just
man.
absolutely fantastic. Can you please tell us about any projects that you've got coming up? Drop your Instagram handle so that people can find you and like, follow, subscribe, the whole thing.
Yeah, just at Kappa Flapper, Capper, FLA and I'm coming to Sydney. I'm doing Sydney Comedy Festival in May, and I'm also doing Brisbane Comedy Festival in May. So yeah, and then I'm coming up to Darwin later on. Yeah, hopefully I get on Kill Tony. I'm mates with Ari Shafir. I've opened for him a lot, and he's just such a legendary dude. And then Duncan Trussell, I opened for him last year,
Uh,
and he's
that
sick.
guy is that guy is absolutely hilarious. Yeah.
So good, dude. Incredible.
Yeah.
Just such a masterclass every night watching both of those guys. And Ari did have a great joke about saying retarded that was clever, which was awesome too. Yeah, yeah. He thanks me in his latest special, which is sick. I was like, oh wow, that's cool, dude. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, that was a huge get. So yeah, hopefully one day I'll have enough money to go and do Kill Tony. So yeah, I'll try. I'll let you know when I do.
Please. And so where
Yeah.
can we buy tickets for your comedy festival shows?
Just at nickcapper.com.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, come along.
Thank you everyone for listening today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks, Ben.